I'm making this more for a diary for me. I just kind of want to remember the last couple days of the contract period for CrossFit East Nashville. Um, Up until that point, we've heard only no's, and we're 3 days, 4 days away from trying to close the deal. But all we're getting is no's from the bank and such. And no's from our landlord, who's been non-agreeable for the last 6 months, to put it politely. And so it was Tuesday night, and I go to Jordan and I say to her, I think I need to go and visit the landlord. The landlord lived in Florida, and so we talked about it, prayed about it for about an hour or so, and booked a flight on Spirit. Let Christian, the other partner, know, hey, I'm doing it. 6 a.m. There I was at the airport, had to wake up at 4 a.m., do all the airport parking and all that jazz, get on the flight. And there was a moment that was very crystal clear. It was about 20 minutes from landing, and I had Lose Yourself by Eminem on. Call me Wonder Bread White, but whatever, it gets me hype. And success is my only option. Failure is not. Mama, I love you. There's a difference between when you're listening to music and when you feel music. And I have never felt so in line with what was going on and that song in that moment. I had my sunglasses on and I had the one teardrop coming down my eye. Anyways, needless to say, I was hyped. And I meet the landlord at his office. I actually didn't meet him. I met Joanne, the secretary, who loves to do rhinestone puzzles of cats. Talked to her for about 90 minutes. Met the landlord, chatted for about 3 hours to get a lease agreement signed. We got something signed. I'm thinking, all right, this trip's been worth it. We did it. High five. I'm in the airport, 2 beers deep, feeling pretty good about myself. And we get news from the banker, the lawyer specifically, saying that the lease was a no-go. Needless to say, pretty mad at that moment. And I was just wondering, all right, God, you're giving us this vision, this dream. What are you doing? Where you at right now? And had to find another hotel room. Did the same song and dance, got the continental breakfast there at his office, 9 a.m. Didn't show up till about 10 a.m. And then, we talked it out till 7 p.m. In between that, at 1 p.m. was a very low moment of we weren't agreeing on anything. The bank didn't like the terms, and the landlord wasn't agreeing to anything. I'm in the rain and I'm talking to our partners, trying to figure out a solution. And if somebody was watching, which people were, in the adjacent buildings, they were like, what is this kid doing? Right? It was pretty dramatic, right? We get an idea. We pitch it to him. He bites on it. But we go back and forth, changing the most minute words. And he didn't sign anything when he left at 7 p.m. And so I'm freaking out and, calling Jordan about it. And she's, obviously devastated, and we're all devastated. And I'm like, this is not how this story ends. It does not end like this. I have seen this too many times. There's another way, right? And so my flight allegedly leaves at 10:30. I call him at 9 p.m. I'm pacing back and forth in the airport, and he doesn't pick up. Try again, doesn't pick up. Try again, doesn't pick up. Of course, the voicemail is full, and I'm like, this is unbelievable right now. 10 p.m., 10:45 to 10 p.m. I call him, he picks up, and I asked him, have you read it? Of course, he said he had it. I'm like, let's read it together. And so 15 minutes of silence. After 15 minutes of silence, I'm like, is there anything in there that you're against? Is there anything that's preventing you from signing this? And there was silence. And then he said to me, John, I sure hope you know what you're doing. And I kind of took a breath and I'm like, yeah, me too. And he signed it at 10:30 p.m. That night. Missed the flight, had to find another hotel. All the hotels are booked. That's unbelievable for this part of Florida, especially on a Thursday. So I had to find a hotel off the strip to get a flight at 6 a.m. And we get a flight, make it home, get notified at 8 a.m. that the lease agreement that we signed has been reviewed by the lawyers and they don't like it. Like, it's not good enough. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, this is unbelievable. Literally ludicrous right now. Like, what more can I do? And at about 10 a.m., I just reached out to God saying like, hey, if this is you, if this is what you want, like, praise be to God. If this is a door shutting, praise be to God. I'll learn the lesson later, right? And at 11 a.m., we get the first yes that we were going to close 3 hours after that. And it took me 10 years of character building prior to this, 7 years of actually learning the skills, 2 years in real estate and understanding legalese and negotiations and contracts, and then 6 months of a contract period to get to 3 hours before we close to get our first yes that this was going to work. And I want this message to hopefully sink into those who feel like they're getting a lot of no's, or they're not passing that class, or they need to get out of that relationship or that depression, or previously non-fruitful habits, and just take that next step. The Lord is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. He does not show us the whole path. He just shows us the next step. And have faith to take that next step.